Hello. In the first video about the scenario diagram in Capella, I tried to explain the basic concepts that you can find in scenarios. In this second video, we will go a little further and explain additional concepts such as duration constraints, reflexive messages, and so on. And I will also demonstrate that it is perfectly possible to create brand new Capella model elements in a scenario diagram, not only vertical lines or horizontal messages, but really new actors, new functional exchanges, and even new functions. So enjoy this new video. The tool doesn't know what you have in your mind when you create the scenario, so the tool just restricts the possible choices to all the functions that are allocated to the right blue box. Look at what I do. You can put a function on the measurement engineer, vertical line. And here, the tool will only propose the launch data acquisition function because it's the only one allocated to this blue box. And it's possible, by the way, it's a good example. You can put a function even if you don't have an execution rectangle. So once again, you display functions only if you think they are useful for communication purposes. So let's have a look what happens after the acquisition. After the acquisition, we have the collected weather data functional exchange, but it's internal to EOL. So how can I show it? It's not going to the forecaster, it's not going to the measurement engineer, it's just going inside EOL. Maybe I can do like this, just by trying to go below on the same line. The tool proposes the internal functional exchanges for this blue box. And once again, maybe it's the same case here. I have to choose the right one for my scenario. And it creates this little reflexive arrow here with a new execution. And by the way, this execution could be the execution of the elaborate current situation function. So I could put it if I want. Okay. And once again, I have to choose the good one. Elaborate, yes. In Capella, they have used the same graphical object, in fact, to represent either states and modes for the vertical line or allocated functions which didn't exist in UML SysML. So that's a little trick. So here, if you double click on this, it's strangely called a state fragment, but in fact related to a function. And we will create some state fragments later related to states. And then to end this scenario, when elaborate current situation is executed, the current situation is then sent now to the forecaster, in fact, to one function of the forecaster. So here it's interesting to see that current situation will go to the forecaster. So here I could do it this way, or if I want to stress the fact that the end of the execution of this function produces this, it would be nice to be able to connect precisely the emission of the current situation to the end of the vertical rectangle. And you can do it, in fact. Okay, if you move this, you sort of separate them. And if you do it precisely, yeah, you can do it like this. They understand that this function is triggered by this, and now when it ends, it produces this. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it here because if I try to do it, it creates once again this superposition of rectangles, which means some multi-threading. And I could also do it like this. Okay. Okay, once again, the important is that your reader will understand what you mean, of course. And remember not to send just a screenshot of your diagram or to send the image that you generate with this nice button by email without any comment. Of course, you have to explain your diagrams. Remember, you can put some explanation in the description field of your diagram also. Okay, and take care not just to distribute diagrams without any explanation, any context. And remember, you can also put some notes, graphical notes on your diagram to explain some critical points. Maybe for a review, you can put some graphical notes saying, okay, we have to check this and this, I'm not sure, and so on. And then you remove the graphical notes after. So we are just missing one nice concept, which is this duration constraint. The data acquisition request and the production of the collected weather data, we could say that there is a duration constraint between the data acquisition request and the collected weather data. Okay, I make it a little bigger maybe. Okay, so it has created all this graphical stuff here. These horizontal lines and this vertical double row. And this is not just graphical, this is a specific constraint. It has the same little icon as the constraint that we created before. It will have a specification and a name, but here, because it's a duration constraint, you will see that the property sheet is a little different. It's not a specification, it's only a duration. So you have a name. The name of the constraint will appear. By the way, it appears already in the Project Explorer because it's a model element. So max hack time, something like that. It will appear here. And the duration, on the contrary, will appear in the diagram. Duration could be less than 1 minute. Okay, so the duration appears in the diagram, name appears in the Project Explorer. And just to show you, we can put duration constraints between messages. We could also, in fact, put duration constraints directly from the start of a function to the end of the function. Yeah. So it depends what you want to express. Is it the duration of the execution of the function, or is it some requirement between two messages? Okay, I delete the second one. When you have a big diagram and you lose the boxes, you still have these lines, you still have this. So this is fine. It's like in Excel spreadsheets. Ah, yes. I have now to make a little demo. So you're not obliged to do it because I will undo everything. So for the moment, we have just seen that we can add new messages by selecting existing functional exchanges between the right functions of the right vertical line, okay? But imagine now, I would like to say that the forecaster needs to send some acknowledge to EOL, telling EOL, okay, I've received the current situation, it's nice, because current situation is an external interface of the system. So maybe it could be interesting that the forecaster, who is external to the system, sends EOL some acknowledge. Okay, we need this now, in fact. And if I try, so I do it again. If I try to to create some message from the forecaster to EOL, the tool only proposes a weather forecast because this is the only message going from the forecaster to EOL. And it's not the weather forecast that I want. I just want first a little acknowledge I have received the current situation. And then maybe 2 hours after, there will be a very nice big weather forecast. So of course I could create a new functional exchange here called acknowledge. But in fact, I'm not even obliged to do it in a data flow block diagram or an architecture block diagram. I can, okay, I try again. And now instead of choosing the existing one, I just click here, create. And now I'm able to create a brand new functional exchange, not only a message, because a message mandatorily refers to some functional exchange. So if the functional exchange doesn't exist yet, I'm able to create it on the fly now in the sequence diagram. So let's create some ACK. And the tool knows which are the functions of the forecaster. So the source function is mandatorily a function of the forecaster. Let's check. Only forecast weather. Okay. And the target function is mandatorily a function of EOL. Okay, only EOL functions could be elaborate maybe. That gets back the acknowledge. Now that I've put a name to the functional exchange and specify the source and target function only now can I click on OK. It will create a message, but also create a new functional exchange. So it will have consequences. Let's have a look. It has created a message. OK. F8. You click on no. It's strange here. So you have the ACK message here. And you can see that it has created a new functional exchange called ACK in my model. Okay, also. So without going to the diagram yet, try to guess whether this ACK functional exchange automatically appears or not in my SAB functional view. Try to remember the rules. It's a tricky question, but so it should appear automatically. Let's check. Yes. Because only the two source and target functions were already on the diagram. Okay. In this specific case, the blank is updated with lines or rows, connectors. Okay, tricky. I undo. One undo. Remove the functional exchange on the SAB, the message, remove everything here. One undo, it was only one creation. Nice. Let's do it nearly the same. I create a functional exchange, but this time I choose, okay, the source function, there is only one. And for the target function, in fact, elaborate current situation doesn't need an acknowledge. Elaborate current situation needs some collected weather data to process them and create some current situation. The acknowledge has nothing to do with the elaboration of a current situation. So in fact, maybe I'm just missing a function now, because this new ACK implies a new function in EOL. Maybe at the end of the month, I have to send some invoices to the forecaster because he has to pay for the current situations to make his job, and okay, I don't know what. So in fact, I don't want to select an existing function. I even would like to create on the fly a new function inside EOL. Okay, bill or invoice. So here, let's see. The OK is available, so the tool has understood something. It has created an ACK message. it has created an ACK functional exchange. And if you have good eyes, it has created a bill forecaster function. I could even show it here now. Yes, there is a fifth one now, bill forecaster. So it has really created a new function in my model. And the function is already allocated to AOL because my movement was towards AOL vertical line. So once again, what happens on the SAB functional view? The new function doesn't appear automatically. And as the new function doesn't appear, the functional exchange cannot be shown because the target is missing. So in fact, nothing has changed on this SAB. More tricky question. On the complete SAB, there is something that has been added. On the complete SAB, we don't have any filters. So on each function, automatically, ports appear. And there is a new output port on the forecast weather, from which the new ACK is going out, in fact. So because the forecast weather was already on the diagram, the new port automatically appears. But the bill forecaster function doesn't appear here. So the other port doesn't appear and the functional exchange cannot appear.